The Moto2 World Championship moves over now to Qatar for the only night race on the calendar. Welcome to race commentary provided by TNT Sports live on JBMotorsports 2. Let's cross over now for the race.
Yeah, good luck with that. And sometimes, obviously, we always show the battle at the front. Half the time, I'd like to watch that scrap in
and David Alonso, by the way, qualified 11th, so just ahead of them there.
Yeah, he's looked stronger, hasn't he? David Alonso, obviously last year's Moto2 World Champion, winner here last year in the Moto3 race. So, I mean, you look at Alonso. He did have a crash earlier, but he's one of those riders who normally doesn't let it affect him. So, is this going to be the first time we see David Alonso work his way forward and we see him in the scrap?
We're looking at Philip Salac. We're staying on the David Alonso theme. If you haven't seen him in Moto3 last year, he was just the cream of the crop. He was sensational, and I think, you know, everyone expected him to jump onto Moto2, and it's a difficult transition between the two, but he's also had an injury, of course.
Yeah, super difficult. You need to be able to, you need to adapt to the extra power, the extra weight of the bike, and sort of the inertia of the engine as well. So there's a lot to take on. He's had that injury, but Alonso, I mean, I'd say the rookies, you know, Olgado, Alonso, he's got Huertas as well. These guys have been really impressive. They're doing great. Alonso feels like the form is coming. We know he's really good as well at managing the tires. He's a small guy. He's not heavy on the tires, so he'll you know, he's got a lot to learn, but it feels like it's coming for him.
In terms of the start here, how important is it for Jake?
Yeah, I think it's really important because Jake's race pace isn't quite as good as the two in front of him. So if he can at least get the start and someone like Gonzalez comes past, what you can do then, you can steal 3 or 4 laps behind someone. What that'll do is that'll drag him away from the shenanigans that we know always goes on in the Moto2 race. So this is one of those really important starts.
And if they've got a bit of a tyre scenario as well here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which can work if you get the start, because you can then go easy on your tyre. Imagine if you get a bad start, then you've to attack. So yeah, the start's imperative.
Okay, we're coming up for our second race then of the day here at the Losail International Circuit in Doha, Qatar, as we look at the back of Aaron Kennett, who's third place. Second is Jake Dixon, and in pole position is Manu Gonzalez. Let's head over to comms then with Michael Laverty and Gavin Emmett.
Good evening. Yes, it is time to go racing in Moto2. Top 3 in the championship and the top 3 on the grid. Dixon leads the title race, but Gonzalez, who scored nothing last time, he's got the speed and he starts from pole position. 18 laps ahead of us. We're ready to race. Night has fallen here in Qatar. The pressure is rising as we get ready to race in Moto2. 18 laps of the Losail International Circuit. And Manuel Gonzalez on pole yet again this season. That's his third pole position of the year. Alongside him, the championship leader, Jake Dixon, with Aaron Kennett, who's always strong around here, in third. Albert Arenas has been great this weekend, as has Daniel Holgado alongside him. Further back, there's the Moto3 World Champion, David Alonso. Could he spring a bit of a surprise today? Senna Aegis heading up the 5th row of the grid. Not found going that easy this weekend, had to come through Q1. Alonso Lopez in 18th. He won here last year, couldn't get it working at all during qualifying, and to top it off, he has a long lap penalty to take in this race. He caused the crash during practice, and that was on Ayumi Sasaki, and unfortunately he will have to do a long lap loop. But for Lopez, for Vietti, for a lot of the Bosco-Scuro boys, Michael, just felt like the Calix, Manu Gonzalez and a few of the other riders might just have the edge around here.
Yeah, it has seemed to be the scenario all weekend where Calix turned up, free practice 1, the bike worked, and for the speed up Bosco-Scuro riders, they've had to work at it throughout the weekend, get the set and dialed in, make the tyres work. Even looking at the tyre choice sheet, it seems to be a lot of the Bosco-Scuros have gone for the soft front tyre, and most of the Calixes are on the harder option front, the SC2, whereas on the rear of the bike it's all SC0. So perhaps that may tell the tale that the Bosco-Scuros needing the soft tyre to get a little bit of turning around these long hanging corners.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? I have to say credit to Mark BDS team and Jake Dixon for bringing it through. What are his chances, do you think, today? He was, I have to say, when he spoke to Natalie before he got to the grid, pretty down on them compared to what we normally expect to hear from Jake. He's a changed man this year.
Yeah, obviously the way he's performed over the last 2 races, he's come into this weekend wanting to keep that momentum going, but it has been tough, and he knows that Gonzalez has had a bit more speed, as has Canet, and he's kept his head down. He's put it in the middle of the front row of the grid, and he's just got to hang in there. Because we know he keeps his tyres so well, and I do think the rear tyre will drop a little as the race goes on, perhaps it could come to him, so he's got to keep himself in contention and just focus on the points that he can gain today.
Yeah, I think it's important sometimes to have that dash of realism, and if it's not there today, to bring home the points, which hasn't always been the case.
Yeah, it is so important this season, with the depth of field, with the way he started his season. Consistent start in Thailand, then came into Argentina and has just smashed Argentina. Texas turned up here wanting to do the same. It was Bosco Oscuro that won a year ago, but obviously the Calyx has changed a lot since we turned up here for round 1 with Pirelli tyres. They have redeveloped the machine.
Let's not forget the race we had here in Moto2 last year. Aaron Canet he came through to lead by a margin and then dropped like a stone. It will be probably a different tale today, but tyres are going to take a battering.
Yeah, it's one of the tougher tracks on tyres because of the sand and the asphalt, the nature of the corners. As Valley looks on, he'll be giving a wave to Chelly Vieri and his VR46 rider down there.
Yeah, he's down on the 5th row, former winner, as Sylvain mentioned on the grid. Celestino Vietti had different winners every single year here in Moto2. Lopez last year, Aldeguer before that, Vietti, Sam Lowe's ran out victorious here back in 2021, but we are ready to go now as we head off the 4th round of the 2025 Moto2 World Championship. The top 3 in the championship are the top 3 on the grid. A late arriver on the grid there for the teenager. Mario Aggi had a huge crash in the final corner earlier this weekend. Right, 18 laps ahead of us in the intermediate class. Who's going to run out victorious in this one? Lights go out. Oh, a bit of a wheelie from Aaron Canet on the outside, and he is dropping like a stone. That is so unfortunate. Had to roll out of it after his front tyre came off the ground. Gonzalez got the perfect launch. Look at Olgado, how strong he is down into turn 1. It's Dixon in second. Oh, someone's very, very wide on the outside of turn 1, but Gonzalez got it just right. Dixon in second, then Olgado in third.
Yeah, I think there was a jump start from Senna Aegis. He either really got it correct or it was a jump start. We wait to hear confirmation on that one. He had a good run down the outside into turn 1. There was a little bit of contact mid-pack, but everyone through cleanly.
Oh, that's going to be tight further down with Diogo Moreira coming through on the inside. At the front, still Gonzalez trying to impose his pace on this race. He's just looked so smooth all weekend. The rookie, Danny Olgado, in third place. Excellent start for the Aspar man to the Qatar Grand Prix. I'm just trying to keep an eye out for Aaron Canet through the middle of the pack. Where is he? Down in 14th, there he is. Just in behind, is that Darren Binder he's with? Yeah,
a terrible first lap for Aaron Canet. Obviously not where he wants to be, and some people to fight with that he's not typically in the mist in these early laps.
Danny Olgado as Moreira attacks on Senna Aegis, so he goes up into 8th spot. His teammate Gonzalez leading. Of course, he ran out victorious in the opening Grand Prix, was second to Dixon in Argentina, scored 0 points when he made the wrong tyre choice in the USA, but it looks like he is right in the slot here in Qatar, already pulling a bit of a lead over Dixon in these early stages, but it's a long, long way to go. As Dennis Onchu, just there behind Albert Arenas, had an excellent weekend so far.
Yeah, good first lap for him. Third row start, he's maintained position, and he's been aggressive and looked good on the bike. He's always lively, but he's looked a little more in control around the Qatar racetrack this weekend.
Lively is such a polite way of putting it, Michael, as Gonzalez leads them across at the end. And you are absolutely right. Eagle-eyed Michael Laverty spotted Senna Aegis jump start. He will have to take a double long lap penalty, I'm afraid. That is the standard penalty now for a jump start. He did make up a few positions in the process, so I suppose it's justified, but Senna will have to go through that long lap loop. Dixon was passed down to turn 1 by Olgado, but on the brakes got back in front.
Yeah, Danny got a good run out of the final turn, used the draft of the 2 riders up front. It also pretty much negated the 2/10 advantage that Gonzalez had got on lap 1, even though Jake was a little behind entering the straight, so maybe there's a little bit of a headwind that has returned and will keep these riders bunched up together.
Olgado having a look on the inside of Dixon. Dixon has to relinquish the position, so the rookie, Danny Olgado, up into second spot. There is Senna Aegis in the middle of the pack. He'll know when he's done that jump start. I wonder here if Olgado can make life a bit more difficult for Gonzalez.
Yeah, obviously a rookie to the Moto2 campaign, and he looks like he wants to get to the front. He's so strong around this racetrack. Think back to Moto3 a year ago, he pretty much led throughout, and all weekend he's looked good. He looked well beyond his time on a Moto2 machine. Only round 4 for him in his rookie season, but he looks like a seasoned campaigner right now.
Yeah, only won 1 Grand Prix last year. That's bearing in mind David Alonso, his teammate this year. That's going to be tight, isn't it? Onshu right through the inside leg there of Jake Dixon. Leg comes off the outside foot peg as if to say, sorry about that.
Yeah, I think that was a little wave of apology. Albert Arenas making the move down into turn 15. Obviously, he's caught Jake there slightly unawares. It's not a normal overtaking spot, but yeah, this is what happens. These riders are smelling a little blood in the water. Jake doesn't quite, in the early laps, he doesn't quite have the feeling on occasion, and it seems like that is the scenario here this weekend.
The thing about Dixon is it's pace in the latter stages where he's usually strong, isn't it? But his former teammate Albert Arenas has got past him. He is the top Bosco-Oscuro runner at the moment. He's looking towards the inside of Arenas. He levels him, and that should be just about right for Dixon to come through. Is he going to hold his line? No. Arenas just opens the throttle in the middle of the corner and rides back in front of the Brits.
Yeah, slightly naughty. That will infuriate Jake a little, because there was a slight door ajar, and you've got to be careful. And it looked like Albert didn't take a look over the outside of his bike, just opened the gas and assumed Jake was going to leave the door open for him. But yeah, a little bit of contact, but at least both riders are still on 2 wheels.
Well, you know, we thought that Gonzalez might be able to get away at the front, and it certainly seems like Olgado and Onshu are going to make life difficult. The thing with Onshu, we've seen it before, he can burn his tyres up in the early laps as Marcos Ramirez now comes through on Dixon. We're watching Aegis and Alonso Lopez come through that long lap loop. Ooh, when they rejoined there, someone was knocked into, I think, because I saw a leg flying off a foot peg.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice if there was contact, but it is a little bit difficult. It's the onus is on the rider coming off the long lap penalty lane to re-enter the track safely.
Oh, Onshu so late through there, almost cleared out the front wheel of Danny Olgado. He is meaning business here, the Turk.
Yeah, there was again an opportunity for Onshu there, but turned 10 quite late in there, and almost wiped out the front tyre of Danny Olgado. He's going to get pounced on by Arenas. We've said Albert has looked so good throughout the weekend, got good pace, the strongest we've ever seen him in Moto2, and he's wanting to make this pay off.
With a yellow flag further back, Dixon managed to hang on in front of Diogo Moreira, who was attacking him. Who is it who's gone down? I can't quite see. Canet's got in front of Philip Salach now, so he's back up to 8th after a disastrous start to his race. It's Ayumu Sasaki. Having a tough time at the moment is Ayumu for the RW Racing team. His teammates up in 12th, but Sasaki, he was battling with David Alonso, but unfortunately he's a goner in this one. As we head down towards turn 1, Onshu holds on in front of Olgado. Barry Baltus is the fastest rider on circuit. I remind you, second here 1 year ago. Onshu's not going to sit around and wait here, is he?
No, you can see actually Olgado had a good slipstream, pulled out and couldn't actually better Onshu towards the top end. We heard some onboard cameras over the weekend. These bikes do touch the limiter a little bit, and it seemed that may have been the case there for Danny Olgado. Just didn't quite have the gearing to actually get his wheel in front of Onshu. Onshu's going to fight though all the way here, no doubt.
We were discussing gearing, weren't we, only this weekend, because there was a tailwind and we could hear some of the bikes a bit on the limiter down towards that turn 1, but it'll be a challenge, won't it, with no warm-up to be able to test it?
Yeah, and the wind there was quite a headwind earlier today. It has calmed down a little. I'm not sure exactly which way it is pointing at this moment in time. It's been from a headwind to a crosswind. Yeah, but gearing is so important when you've got such a long front straight.
Still Gonzalez leads, as he has from the start, having launched off from pole position. Here comes Aaron Canet once again through on Philip Salach. These two battling for 8th place with Barry Baltus, Canet's teammate, in close attendance.
He's got some work to do, obviously, and we know we're going to get a look at his start. So did he just bobbed and bogged down and pretty much got swallowed up? Yeah, you can see the front pops up when he drops the clutch and then just completely bogs down and gets completely swallowed up by the pack.
Yeah, disaster for him. Where is he there now? Down about 13th, 14th, just behind David Alonso at the start of the race, and then Alonso gets pushed out wide. That was it. You just saw the front wheel come off the ground, had to roll out of it and then go again, and that's... You must hate to be in that position to sit on the bike.
Such a horrible feeling just watching everyone completely fly past.
We've got a change in leader. We've got a change in second place because Dennis Onchu has taken over at the front. Danny Olgado has gone up into second, and Manuel Gonzalez is not having it all his own way. He's dropped back to third as Darren Binder hits the top of his Triumph. What's happened here? In a battle with Philippe Salach. Oh! He had a problem. That's what it is. Had a problem. That could have been so messy. I am so pleased that he's been able to ride that bike to the side.
Yeah, lightning reactions from Zonda van der Gerberg to just jink right and avoid the collision. Incorrect.
Oh, things have got worse for Senna Aegis. He's got to do another long lap because he's obviously touched the line on the green paint, and it's got worse for Manuel Gonzalez. Having led, he's back to fourth now with Jake Dixon looming behind him. It's Unchu from Olgado Arenas. If you had that in your sweepstake, you are lying.
Yeah, just thinking this is a completely different outlook than what we would have anticipated heading into the race. Jake has responded well here. He's right on his championship rival's tail. He did dispose of Marcos Ramirez. Baltus has set the fastest lap. He's coming forward, as is Canet. But yeah, you didn't have Onju and Holgado as the leaders at this stage in the race.
Not at all, but it's a strange one, isn't it, this one in Qatar? We saw it here last year. It's punishing on the tyres. These fast right-hand corners really eat up the rubber. You've got to be so careful. And someone like Dixon and Gonzalez, we know they're both good later on, don't we? So are maybe the inexperience a little bit of Olgado and Onchu. Arenas, you'd expect to have a little bit more. He's been in the championship now for a few years. But still, you feel like in this position, I'm still not counting out Gonzalez or Dixon.
Or Canet, actually.
Canet, yeah.
What a lap this has been from Canet. He's got through on Ramirez, he's got rid of Moreira, and he's right on Jake Dixon's rear wheel. It looks like he could be the man. Obviously, completely different from 1 year ago where he tried to bolt and then ended up getting swallowed up. But yeah, he's come forward and he can compose himself. Now he can see the leader, and yeah, that's been a few laps of hard work for him to get back into contention.
How many times, Michael, have we, commentating on these races over the years, said, if you get that far back in Moto2, almost your race is done.
Yeah.
But Canet has this ability, doesn't he, this wherewithal to slice his way through a field.
Yeah, obviously one of the strongest riders in the field now. How he finished his season last year. They started the season as a favourite, had the big crash in Argentina, but he's looking for a move.
It's going to come on Dixon. He really let Jake know early on that he was going to make that move into turn 6, and Canet has got through and up into 5th place.
Yeah, great recovery and wasting absolutely no time. I thought he might just take a few laps once he'd caught up to the lead pack, but yeah, he looks like he's going to slice his way through them pretty rapidly.
Senna Aegis has just gone and done the long lap loop again, and we'll find out soon enough if he's done it correctly or not. At the front, Onchu leading, Holgado in second, Arenas in third, still Manuel Gonzalez. He's composed himself, he's sat in fourth. This was the change of lead.
Yeah, not sure Holgado was planning the overtake, but he was on the tail of Dennis Onchu, and sometimes it happens, you get sucked into the position where it's safer to go through as well.
Yeah, Gonzalez putting himself at risk a little bit on the outside there as they came through, but safely there in 4th spot. Onchu pushing on the pace at the front. He had looked good all weekend. We said that when we were looking down at the grid, but I don't think I expected him to take charge of the race on lap. Well, he took charge a lap and a half ago now, wasn't it, on lap 5. But now, as we end our 6th lap, he's still in front from number 27, Daniel Gardo, rookie, in 2nd place. Albert Arenas in 3rd. And then in 4th spot is Manuel Gonzalez.
Just looking at the top of shot, Tony Arbolino having a much better race. I know 12th isn't a lot to shout about for the championship contender, but he's had such a tough weekend. You can see it there on the Blue Crew machine. He's come forward a lot. He is a racer, Tony, but yeah, not been a weekend for any of the Boscoscuros really to shout right home about. They've been struggling, and it is Jake the only one in the very head of the field, and then his teammate Salach.
Yeah, that's Arbolino, championship runner-up a couple of years ago, was destined to go into MotoGP, never got the opportunity. Started 22nd on the grid, but now he's found his way through up into 12th place. There's Canet in 5th on the back of Gonzalez. Well, it's a different race to the one I was expecting, Michael. I sincerely thought that Gonzalez would be able to dictate a pace out front, but I do feel there is some tyre consolidation, tyre management going on.
Yeah, I think with Manuel Gonzalez, he's one of the smoother riders in the field. He's got an uncanny knack of being able to maintain a pace that others can't in the latter laps, and I think he may have a little bit of strategy in mind.
It wasn't always the case, was it?
No, it wasn't,
Gonzalez. He often did drop back and finish 5th, where he finds himself pretty much now.
Yeah, when you think back to his time at Master Camp, that was pretty much the hallmark of his whole season. It was dropping back in the later laps of the race, but last year he certainly turned that around in Grassini colours.
Here comes Moreira. Oh, that is tight from Moreira. He just rides through the arm. He's an aggressive youngster, is the Brazilian, and Jake will not like that one bit.
No, not in the slightest. I've seen Moreira give Darren Binder a bit of a rub earlier in the race, and now Jake as well. Not here to make friends, obviously, but yeah, it was a little bit close for comfort. In the entrance to turn 15, you've got a little bit of a crest as you approach, and the opportunity was there, but yeah, he could have given him a little more room.
So Dixon to the back of the front group of 7, still on tube, stretches them out. Personal best lap for him, personal best lap for Olgado in 2nd, personal best for Manuel Gonzalez in 4th, and a personal best for Diogo Moreira, who's there in 6th place. Dixon had to think about coming back at the Brazilian. Moreira, who so far this season was 4th, of course, in Thailand, was 5th on the grid in Argentina, but crashed out. In the USA, like Gonzalez, he made the wrong tyre choice. He was actually the fastest of those who'd gone with the wrong tyres on that occasion. So this is Moreira coming back to the kind of form we saw at the end of last year.
Yeah, he's certainly got the speed to be in the lead battle and wanting to get back on the podium, as he did finish off last year. He's lost a little bit. The move on Jake did cost him. He's got almost 7 tenths to make up to get back across into the battle.
Cost them both, didn't it? They did lose touch ever so slightly. Who has looked after their tyres? We ride on board with Aaron Canet, and he's going to make the lunge. He comes at Manuel Gonzalez from a long way back down into turn 10, through this long left of 11. We saw the gap between Moreira behind, and that will bring them back. Gonzalez to Moreira, ever so slightly anyway.
These lap times 57.7, just a tenth outside the race lap record from Canet last year. They have upped the ante the last few laps, whether they're taking a little bit too much out of their tyre with still 11 laps to go. It's a long way around here, and it is punishing on these Pirelli tyres.
Yeah, they've gone with that softer option, but they usually perform well, don't they? Those soft tyres will get you through, but an element of management has to come into this. You can't go hell for leather. If you do, you're just going to spend your tyres and you are going to drop backwards. It's going to be interesting to see. Dixon has got back in front of Moreira. He doesn't want to get too far back. Just tucks it up out of turn 1 to keep his nose in front of the Brazilian. I think, you know, from what Dixon said to Nat before the start of the race, he expected something like this, didn't he? But he's not too far away from the lead, and if he can have his usual kind of second half of the race, he's not in a bad spot.
Yeah, 57.9, his personal best last time around, which is positive now. 10 laps remaining. He is always good at managing tyre consumption, having a little something left at the end of the race, but Canet's coming to join the party, and he's honed that skill as well over the last 8 to 12 months, really.
Yeah, Onshu isn't one of those I'd expect whose tyres to last, but he's another one actually I'd expect won't mind if the tyres are off in terms of riding, a bit like Moreira.
Yeah, happy with it sideways when you watch how he trains and rides in general. But the problem is, this is a good move from Arenas.
Strong all weekend, and he's through on the rookie. They're chasing second, and just seeing Onshu edge away. I have been so impressed in this race by Olgado. So impressed this season, actually. What a start to the year he's had.
Yeah, certainly no one had him down to overshadow his teammate David Alonso whenever they come into Moto2 together, but
Canet,
wow.
Yeah, he set that one up, didn't he, Aaron Canet? Olgado a little bit high on the curbs, and Canet beautiful through there.
Yeah, clean. It's not an easy place to pass through the fast right-handers, but he had his bike turning, as you mentioned, set it up on the approach. Now Canet's the danger man, I think, for Onju.
Impressive from Aaron Canet, having dropped right back. He was further back than 11. That was just at the end of lap 2. Canet went right back off the start, and he has just chipped away. How much tyre is he having to use there? Look at Olgado. Pulls out of the slipstream, gets in front of Canet once more. Canet on the brakes. All this battling is just helping Onchu out front. Side by side, the two Spaniards. Canet's got the edge. The rookie scrapping, but has to slot back in 4th place.
Olgado feisty. I'm surprised. I thought he might just sit in behind Canet, but he had the run, had the slipstream, and thought he might as well go through. But yeah, Canet wasted no time to pounce back on the brakes.
If we learn one thing about Danny Olgado in Moto3, he's not a follower, is he? He likes to be in front.
Yeah, always liked to lead the race and control the pace from the front. Not something we said about Onju too often. He did do it on occasion. Saxon Ring springs to mind, but yeah, today in Qatar, he's feeling it, and he's got a comfortable 0.6 of a second margin at the moment.
So Onchu leading from Arenas now, with Canet there in 3rd, Olgado 4th. Manuel Gonzalez still not far behind, 1.2 the gap to Onchu from the pre-race favourite as Canet comes again. He's just doing this every single lap, picking off 1, 2 riders. It's some race this from Canet.
Yeah, so good. His passes are clean, and they're from quite a ways back. That one through turn 10, he just set it up, and he had such confidence that he was going to pull it off, hit his apex, not drift wide, and block off any cutback from Arenas.
The question is going to be, are the tyres going to last? He should be. He's got vast experience now as Canet. He saw what happened 1 year ago when he was leading and then dropped rapidly in the last 2 or 3 laps of the race. He will know that. He's got all that information. Of course, he stayed with the same team for this season, and so you'd hope that Canet will have something for the remaining laps.
Yeah, I believe so. I think we're quite a way on in terms of how the team's riders approach it. They see Canet setting his best lap. Still just outside his lap record from a year ago.
Danny Olgado and Albert Arenas side by side. They touched on the straight, and Olgado's just going to force him wide. This is getting feisty between the two Spaniards. Former Moto3 world champion in Arenas, Moto3 championship runner-up in Olgado. No quarters given.
I didn't actually see it. I was looking at the timesheets. Was there proper contact?
It was proper elbows. We'll see it again, I'm sure, if our director is able to show us a replay of that one. But worrying moments. On the lap, 2 riders in the 57s in this front group, Aaron Canet and Jake Dixon, and that's been a couple of laps in the 57 bracket for Dixon.
Yeah, it was said before, the way the engineers and riders manage the tyres now in terms of how they set the bikes up to load them, how they heat them, and then how the riders put their inputs into them, they do last quite... They've got a much better handle on how to make them work, let's say.
Gonzalez has got in front of Arenas, and Dixon now is going to try and find a way through. Is he going to attack? Of course he is. Former teammate. They weren't necessarily the best of pals in those days. Arenas lifts him up on exit from the corner.
Jake's going to pay it back with interest. That's twice now Albert has made contact with Jake in this race on cutbacks, so yeah, that won't go down too well.
That's Dixon on that Elf Mark VDS machine. Behind him, Diogo Moreira, ready to pounce if anything were to go wrong. But Dixon holding a tight line as we run through this. He's going to go through, is he? I just wonder whether he's going to go through on Arenas. Moreira's going to try and get through himself. Moreira rubs up the side of Dixon down to the final corner. Dixon will just let the brakes off here. Will he run a little bit deep, however? Dixon had a big moment there mid-corner.
Yeah, I think Jake went for it down the inside at 15. It left him tight, and then obviously he did compromise the exit, and he had attack from Moreira.
That's this rider on track. Barry Baltus has just made a second on this front group. On the number 7, back of the group, Dixon attacks Arenas down towards turn 1. Does he hold the line? He doesn't. Look at Baltus on the podium here 1 year ago, and he wants more. This is a great Moto2 race that we are witnessing here. There's just under 7 laps remaining. There's a yellow flag out there. Someone's gone down further back, but it's Onchu leading. Canet in 2nd. Olgado's just done personal best lap in 3rd. But the fastest rider on circuit is Barry Baltus. And is that a new lap record, yeah?
Yeah, new race lap record for the Belgian. He's had to work hard to get across the gap, but impressive stuff nonetheless.
I think it's just outside, actually, of Sam Lowe's from 2021. As now you see Barry Baltus come through on Arenas. Moreira and Arenas knocking lumps out of each other. And Baltus says, thank you very much. I'll have that one, Albert.
Jake's red light has come on during the contact, I think, with Albert Arenas. You can see the red light on the back of his seat unit.
Yeah, so Dixon up into 5th place now, and he's got work to do, hasn't he, to catch up. He needs some battling in front of him to get back on Gonzalez, who isn't out of this one just yet. The gap at the front is coming down, Michael. Onchu, at one point, had 6-7-10s. It's down to 0.4 between himself and Canet.
I'm so impressed with Onchu. He's matching the pace every lap, though. Back into the 57s last time around, 57.9 from the head of the pack. Although, oh,
that's Dixon. Dixon goes down and he is out. He's going to have his first no score of the year. So much battling, so much scrapping going on. And just like a year ago, he takes a 0 out of the Qatar Grand Prix. Thankfully, looks like he's okay, but he will relinquish the championship lead.
And it will go to Canet as if things finish as they are. But Gonzalez is right there. He's brought himself back into podium contention now. But this lap time around, another 57.9 from both Onju and Canet at the head of the field.
I have to see that one again from Dixon. Just at the top of our picture, he went out. I don't know whether he got high on the curbs or something like that, but down he went. Here comes Moreira now on Baltus. This one is like the UFC bout we saw last night. They are knocking lumps out of each other.
Yeah, it's a good circuit for overtakes, and obviously the opportunities are there. And these young riders not scared to let off the brake. We'll get a look at Jake. Oh, he's lost.
Front's gone.
Yeah.
That's where he went down last year, remember, with the high side. But in the front, he went for miles, didn't it?
Yeah, it was gone forever. We know he was on the softer front, whether it was just crying enough on the right side, folded under as he's trying to push on to get back into the podium battle.
Well, that'd be manna from heaven for Manuel Gonzalez in 4th, who's just done a personal best lap and closed in on the leaders. Barry Baltus looks feisty as Jake Dixon trudges away. 0 points for him for the first time this year. Have to regroup and come back for the Spanish Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. This is the battle for 5th with Moreira, Baltus and Arenas. And all that scrapping, Jake Dixon's crash has meant they have lost touch with this front quartet.
Yeah, I think they had to roll the gas in the middle of the right-hander whenever Jake crashed, and it did cost them a little bit of time. They were in 58.4 last time around, so just give them 0.6 of a second, and the front four were already making a little bit of a gap.
I don't know who I'm most impressed by in this race. There's so many people who deserve plaudits, deserve our accolades here. Dennis Onchu leading. Danny Olgado in just his 4th Moto2 race there in 3rd spot. Around them, Aaron Canet, vastly experienced in 2nd place, is now right on the tail of Onchu. Onchu's pace consistently still in the high 157s.
Yeah, not making it easy, but yeah, it's difficult to pick your winner at this stage in the race. You've got to say Canet, because he's come from so far back, and as long as he hasn't overworked his tyres, he's looking maybe the stronger of the front 4 riders at this stage in the race. But Onchu's definitely, he's keeping a good rhythm at the head of the field.
When these two start battling, though, Olgado and particularly Manuel Gonzalez are going to come back into it. 5 laps to go under the floodlights of Lusail here in Qatar. A bit wide from Onchu, but he's able to bring it back round for a late apex in turn 1. He's leading, took charge early on in this race from Manuel Gonzalez. Ooh, lighting it up there, Aaron Canet. As we go through turn 3, up to 4.
Full gas through turn 3 on a Moto2 bike, but yeah, you could hear the throttle wind in out of turn 2, the little twitch of the rear from Aaron Canet. He's asking a lot. He's setting this one up. Not this time.
No, Onchu is very, very strong on the brakes and holds firm ahead of the Spaniard. Number 53, Dennis Onchu. We always, when we saw him in the Moto3 class, the bigger the bike, you feel he's going to be better. He does all his training, of course, with his brother Chan, but particularly Toprak Razgatlioglu, who they really battle hard. He won't be any stranger to having someone like Aaron Canet alongside him. He will actually thrive on it, you feel. Top left, you can see Barry Baltus getting through on Diogo Moreira, and then the Brazilian fighting back, but it's all going to be for naught in terms of the podium, unless at the front the gloves really do come off. Oh, Canet every single time he's trying to find a way through, but Onchu is making life hard.
Oh, he's made a mistake.
He's made a mistake. Yeah, he sat up, and now Canet does take over.
Perhaps he's lost the front in the middle of 14. It is one of those right-handers. You can either touch the curbs, fold the front, or maybe just as Jake did, overpower the front tyre. But at least he's still in this fight. Now for Canet, he's going to try and get his head down over these last 4 laps.
Yeah, has got the harder option front on. Olgado himself had the softer option, so interesting to see, because we saw that front wash out for Dixon. That is a warning for the rest. Aaron Canet then has taken over the lead of this race with 4 to go. This is what happened, Michael.
So turn 14. Yeah, just not quite getting it turned, so he's run out of road and he's then had to pick it up. So yeah, maybe the front was just ploughing a little understeering on the way in and he couldn't quite get it back.
Up to turn 4 for Canet. Can he put some distance between himself and Onchu? Can Gonzalez respond at all? Olgado's ridden superbly, but Gonzalez is going to come through and up into the podium positions. Winner of the opening round of the championship, second in Argentina. Will fancy his chances of closing down Onchu. Is he able to then go and attack Aaron Canet, who hasn't won a race this year? He's had the 2nd and 2 4th places so far. It's been a solid start to the year for the perennial bridesmaid Aaron Canet. Can he tick off his first win of the year? Or can Manuel Gonzalez challenge? It looks like Canet has dispensed with Onchu now. Yeah,
Canet's put half a second in on this lap. And interesting to see if he's back into the 57s. Everyone else has just dropped into the 58s over the last couple of laps, and it does look like Canet's still got something left in his tyres.
That left leg on the outside foot peg in the air. He comes through turn 14. That's where he took the lead of this race from Denis Onchu. Up to the final corner now. When they cross the line, there'll be 3 to go. Has Gonzalez got anything now? He's closing on this lap. Feels like he was much quicker than Onchu, but what was his pace compared to Aaron Canet as they come to the line? 3 laps remaining in the Moto2 Grand Prix of Qatar. Fastest rider in the front group is Gonzalez in 3rd, but he was only a 10th quicker than Canet, and he's 0.8 behind his compatriot.
It does look like Onju's work in the early laps perhaps caused him to struggle a little. Now he's still strong and he is very good at managing a bike that is sliding a little under him. The problem is you're going through the turns and the bike's skating a little under you. You just lose pace even though you're comfortable with it doing so. The others around you are going forward whilst you're slipping and sliding around.
Further back down the order, Tony Arbolino's dropped out of the point, so I don't know whether he's had a moment. Senna Regis has got back in. He's in 14th behind Moto3 champ David Alonso. Colin Veyer's done well. He's in 12th, just behind his compatriot Zonda van der Gerberg in 11th. Celestino Vietti rounding out the top 10 with Salac in 9th, Ramirez in 8th, Arenas now in a lonely 7th place, and then Moreira is in 6th, still battling with Baltus, and this is our front 4. Canet leading from Onchu, Gonzalez and Olgado, but Gonzalez, like Canet found with Onchu, is finding the Turkish rider a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, not the easiest rider in this field to make a way through on. Obviously he breaks late and he's quite wide in terms of his body style with his elbows down. Yes, he'll find a way, no doubt. The way Manu approaches it, he'll figure things out, whether it's through the middle of these turns as Canet was able to do, or force a mistake with Onchu.
Single podium came last year for Onchu at Aragon. Maybe in terms of grip levels, that kind of thing, maybe that's something that's similar between here and Aragon, who knows. But Onchu managing it superbly here today in 2nd place. Can he take his 2nd podium? And his best result he would, because he was 3rd there in Aragon. He will be put under pressure from Manuel Gonzalez. I think Canet has done this one, has judged it to perfection, where he got it completely wrong a year ago. Looks like Canet is going to get it right.
Yeah, when he was mired in the field in lap 1, I thought, no, it's going to be a bridge too far for Aaron Canet today, but he's proved me wrong. 7/8 advantage now as he goes on to this penultimate lap. He looks like he's got things in control.
He does. He was a couple of tenths quicker than both Onchu and Gonzalez on that last lap. Olgado another couple of tenths further back. Has Canet done it? Full credit to him. Remember all those times he finished in 2nd place, you never knew whether he was going to go on and win a Grand Prix. Finally he broke his duck last year, won 4 races in total, finished the season as runner-up to Ayagura, 40 points behind. He feels he deserves a spot in MotoGP does Aaron Canet. He's getting to that point now, though, where lots of other young Spaniards are coming through, the likes of Daniel Gardo and Manuel Gonzalez. And you wonder, will he be overlooked for a Moto GP ride, Canet, who, I'm not saying he's getting on, 25 years of age, though. He's getting to that point for a Spanish rider, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly for a Spanish rider it is tougher at 25 when you've got the likes of rookies Holgado, Alonso coming in and performing as they are. I shouldn't call Alonso a Spanish rider, but I consider him to be one, even though he's Colombian, obviously. But yeah, it is certainly tougher for Aaron Canet at this stage in his career. But with performances like this, you can't argue he does warrant a seat at some point in his career in MotoGP.
Yeah, he'll say, look at what I did battling with the Guru last year and look at what he's doing in MotoGP. There's no doubt about it, this field in Moto2, as every year, is stacked. They're all the ones hoping to be up in the Premier class in the future, but there's only so many rides available. You'd say it's sometimes even harder for the Spanish riders. However many we have in MotoGP, there's so much competition, so much talent on the Iberian Peninsula. Right, across the line we go. 1 lap to go in the Qatari Grand Prix. Canet leading by 1.1 seconds. Just needs to keep it safe on this final circulation, this final lap of Losail. Denis Onchu has been superb, led for much of this race, and he's holding off Manuel Gonzalez. Canet, if he wins, will go to the top of the championship. Gonzalez will go ahead of Jake Dixon, who, if you have just joined us, has crashed out of this race, unfortunately. He was in 5th place, was battling back after being beaten up in the early stages, but lost the front out at turn 13. Canet leads Onchu, he's got closer again from Gonzalez through there down towards turn 6.
Gonzalez is trying to set something up here in the last lap. This is a battle that has rumbled on between Moreira and Barry Baldas, and it will go down to the very last corner for 5th place today.
Behind them you could just see Celestino Vietti coming through. He's caught up with Ramirez. Albert Arenas, having led briefly, has dropped backwards, so he's now down behind Vietti by the looks of things, and Ramirez down to 9th place, so he hasn't kept his tyres underneath him, as he possibly could have predicted. But yeah, I'm not sure we would have said Denis Onchu was the one that was going to be on the podium today.
See him floating all the way into turn 12 there on the engine brake side, but controlled it nicely. Manu's going to have to give something a go here. It's going to be the last corner, really. But yeah, I think Onchu's got this covered.
Oh, you see Onchu again, just trying to block every single corner, isn't he? Trying to make sure there's no way through for Manuel Gonzalez. To the final corner. It's going to be Aaron Canet who will win in Qatar. Onchu, as he picked the perfect line, looked like it perhaps to block the way through for Gonzalez. Canet wins for the first time in 2025 and takes the championship lead. Denis Onchu gets his best result in the intermediate class, and in 3rd place Manuel Gonzalez takes his 3rd podium of the year, with Daniel Gardo brilliant from the rookie in 4th place. Moreira is 5th, Baltas 6th, Vietti took 7th ahead of Ramirez, Arenas and Salach. David Alonso took 11th in the end from Zonta van der Gerberg. Via Aegis, and Joe Roberts rounds out the point scoring positions with a single one. But the full 25, Michael, going to Aaron Canet, peerless today after that bad start.
Yeah, that's
What a race, what a battle here in Moto2 as well. As Muda Sese, the lucky MotoGP fan, waves the flag. Aaron Canet, victorious then here. Thanks for your company here on Moto2. We've got a rush to cover the Formula 1. Join us in an hour's time when MotoGP will be on the main JB Motorsports channel. Thanks for your company. See you later. Bye-bye.